Enjoy another beautiful day with sunshine and highs in the upper 80s. But hey, don't get too comfortable, okay? A chance for strong to severe storms moves in on Sunday, and an active weather pattern sticks around into next week. We've got your full forecast coming up. The remains of more than 50 people were discovered inside a Southside funeral home. What comes next for the business and the grieving families? And a convicted killer back in court. Prince Cunningham sentenced today in the 2003 murder of Taisha Bell from Aurora. Thank you so much for joining us today at 5. I'm Lauren Scafidi. Let's take you outside for a look at what we are working with. It is looking good to me. I'm liking what I am seeing. Let's send things on over to JD because things are going to change a little bit later on in the weekend.
They will for sure, Lauren. This evening, at least the short term, next handful of hours looks pretty good for us. And I think a lot of folks agree with that who are out checking out the Bean here this evening. Yes, it's warm. Yes, it's muggy. Hey, it's summertime in Chicago. And keep in mind, we only have a handful of summer weekends left to go. Fall will be here before you know it, whether you want to think about that or not. Heat index factor is 91 right now, so yes, it is on the warmer side. Satellite and radar picture, top side we go. Puffy clouds across the area for us right now, but my focus is on this near Waterloo. That little storm complex going to dive to the south and southeast, but maybe something develops in western Wisconsin, tries to roll our direction late tonight. There could be a spotty to isolated thunderstorm chance. Then our next chance for rain shows up Sunday and again Monday, and those storms could be on the strong to severe side. We'll detail that coming up here in just a while.
Thank you so much, JD. Officials are still on scene at a funeral home where dozens of decomposing bodies were found. Casey Cronus is live in the city's South Deering neighborhood where this now huge investigation stands tonight. Hey, Casey.
Hi, Lauren. More than 50 decaying bodies were found here. Now, officials first made this horrifying discovery yesterday afternoon when the Cook County medical examiner was notified that bodies weren't being stored properly. It's unclear where that original tip came from, but neighbors say they have noticed a foul smell in the area for several months. Today, all morning long, officials were removing those decaying bodies from the South Chicago Chapel, located at 95th and Exchange. We are hearing from some family members who say the medical examiner has begun to identify some of the remains, but it could be a lengthy process depending on their state of decomposition. According to the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation, which licenses funeral home directors, Joanna Morgan's license is now suspended. She is the registered funeral home director here. But to add to this disturbing story, officials tell us her husband, Clark Morgan, previously held a funeral director and embalmer intern license that was revoked in 2024. It was stripped from him after officials found bodies stacked on top of one another at the Heights Crematory in Chicago Heights. Today, loved ones who laid their relatives to rest here at South Chicago Chapel say they waited weeks or even months for their family members' ashes and are now fearing the worst.
Was swarmed with phone calls from 9 to 10 o'clock last night. Also, first thing in the morning, I've been getting calls from my family to tell me to follow through, look into this matter. My concern is making sure that the remains that I have actually belong to my loved one. Like I said, it took me a while to receive those, and with seeing all of this, you know what I'm saying, on the news, raised concern for my whole entire family.
How did this fall through the loop? This is crazy. I don't know how something like this could happen, and I just really feel like there's a special place with the devil for these people because this is crazy.
Illinois Controller Susana Mendoza spoke with us on Chicago Live today. She is calling this discovery heartbreaking and an abomination.
People should never be allowed to be anywhere near someone's loved one's body when they're deceased, and where they do belong is frankly in jail, as far as I'm concerned. We should be moving forward with passing legislation that would criminalize this type of behavior. I think accountability is absolutely necessary, and in holding people, actual penalties, not just financial but criminal, and holding these really house of horror perpetrators accountable for their absolutely horrific actions.
Prices here ranged from $700 for basic cremation services to nearly $4,000 for full burials. And as you can imagine, it is already difficult enough to lose a loved one, but to think that they weren't handled with integrity after their death has made this a lot more difficult to process. Lauren?
Oh, that is for sure, Casey. I can't even imagine what these people are thinking and dealing with. Now, have officials announced any arrests in this case?
We asked the Chicago Police Department if they have made any arrests in connection with this investigation. They tell us it is an ongoing investigation and could not provide any further updates at this time.
All right, Casey, thank you so much for that live report. More than 2 decades after the murder of an Aurora mother, Tyisha Bell, her killer has been sentenced to 70 years in prison. Let me catch you up really quick. Back in May, a Kane County jury found Cunningham guilty of first-degree murder in the 2003 killing of Tyisha Bell, the mother of his child. Prosecutors said Prince Cunningham lured Bell from her apartment before she vanished and then lied to investigators and tried to cover up his tracks for years. Bell's remains were discovered in Montgomery in 2020, and forensic testing showed that she was shot in the back of the head. Cunningham will serve 70 years in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. A DuPage County judge says no pretrial release for a Homer Glen man. He's accused in a violent home invasion. It's the one in Darien that we've been telling you about. Prosecutors say 32-year-old Michael Leahy broke into a home on Tuesday afternoon, allegedly threw broken glass at the homeowner, got into the house through a shattered window, stealing the victim's cell phone and assaulting him. The victim had cuts, a puncture wound, and bruising before getting away and going to the hospital. Leahy is charged with 2 counts of home invasion, aggravated fleeing and eluding, and misdemeanor theft. Next, his court appearance is scheduled for August 31st. A former elementary school teacher in DuPage County has been charged with sexually abusing students. Mario Garcia had worked as a 3rd-grade teacher at the DuPage County Children's Center. Investigators say the school told them back in May that Garcia had inappropriately touched 5 students on multiple occasions. A judge ordered him to stay behind bars. He's facing several charges, including criminal sexual assault of a child and aggravated criminal sexual abuse. Garcia is expected back in court August 31st. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement says all of its field officers are going to have body cameras. It's going to happen by the end of September. It comes after several high-profile deadly shootings involving ICE agents. The agency says officers will need to turn the cameras on during arrests, search warrants, and other enforcement actions. However, ICE policy leaves it up to the agency's director to decide whether video of deadly or serious incidents is ultimately released to the public. The policy says that footage will only be released if the agency decides that it's in its best interest. Civil liberties and policing experts say that raises questions about transparency and accountability. Coming up, the Bears unveil a special tribute to Caleb Williams in the West Loop. And Chicago marks 5 years since the loss of Officer Ella French. But first, here's a quick look at your trip home. Welcome back. A Senate committee voted to recommend holding Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress. He invoked his Fifth Amendment rights more than 100 times during a COVID-19 hearing. The Justice Department says it has received the referral and is reviewing the matter. Joining us now live to break down what happens next and all the legal questions surrounding this, we have Chicago-based attorney Ron Safer. Thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
So let's just start with the basics here. Explain to us quickly what it means to be held in contempt of Congress and what happens now that the committee has voted to refer this to the Justice Department.
Well, Congress has the right to subpoena witnesses, as they did, and witnesses can testify or they have the right to assert their Fifth Amendment privilege. In that case, that's what Dr. Fauci did. Now, the Senate has said that they are holding him in contempt of court, or in contempt of the Senate, rather, and they are referring that to the Justice Department to see whether that will be prosecuted in court.
So, Ron, Dr. Fauci invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Now, legally speaking, can Congress punish someone for exercising that constitutional right?
No, they cannot. They can refer that to the Justice Department, and the Justice Department could bring that to court, where a judge could find him in contempt of court. But that is true only if he is immunized for his testimony. That is, if he is told that he will not be prosecuted for anything that he says, then he is compelled to testify.
Okay, so what about this? Senator Rand Paul argues that because President Biden issued Dr. Fauci a preemptive pardon, that he can no longer rely on the Fifth Amendment. Is that argument likely to hold up in court?
I don't think so, because this Congress has referred several people for testimony that they have been given. This is what is called a perjury trap. So they are calling Dr. Fauci, not because they want to know facts that Dr. Fauci knows. Dr. Fauci has testified innumerable times about that, and his documents have been turned over. Everybody knows what he has to say. Rather, he is being asked to testify before the Senate in a way that then the Department of Justice could say, oh, you have perjured yourself, and that is a new crime, and we are going to prosecute you for that.
So we kind of touched on this, but I want to dive in here. So the committee voted to send this referral to the Justice Department without a full Senate vote. Is that unusual, and could that affect whether prosecutors move forward?
It will not. It is unusual, and it will not affect whether the prosecutors will move forward. The prosecutors have to make an independent judgment as to whether or not Dr. Fauci has violated the law, and that is that to not comply with his subpoena, and that's a complicated calculus. And in the normal Department of Justice, wouldn't get a second look. He would never be prosecuted for this. But these times are anything but normal, and the Department of Justice is acting in a way that is anything but normal.
And Ron, my last question for you, we always think about how things could affect, other cases in the future. So what precedent, if any, do you think that this case could set for future congressional investigations?
It again would allow, the President Trump has pardoned a whole lot of people. Congress will undoubtedly at some point turn Democratic. And at that time, they can do the exact same thing, set up perjury traps for anybody who has been pardoned in front of Congress. It's not the way politics should run. It's not the way the Department of Justice should run, but it's the reality.
All right, Ron Safer, thank you so much for joining us on the News at 5 today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, take care. Have a good weekend. Let's get to that weekend forecast with J.D. Rudd. J.D., You know, you said something in our afternoon meeting today that's really, really stuck with me, and that's to not get used to this 8 p.m. sunset situation.
Yeah, that's going to be changing before we like to think about it. In the short term tonight, you saw the sun setting after 8 p.m. You might run into a few showers and a couple of rumbles in our western areas, say around 9, 10 o'clock or so tonight. Temperatures are going to fall back in the mid-70s, stays humid tonight. It's your typical summer evening. Looking ahead into the weekend, mid-80s. Saturday and Sunday. Tomorrow's the pick day for sure. Sunshine, less humidity. Humidity jumps back up on Sunday, and there is a decent chance for some at least spotty showers and thunderstorms. But then, yes, to Lauren's point, Sunday is a solar milestone for us because that'll be our last night of 8 p.m. sunsets until we get to the 10th of May. 276 days away. And if I could make this just a little bit more painful for a moment, we start losing about 10 minutes of evening daylight every week. So in 4 weeks from tonight, the sunset time will be down to 20 minutes after 7 in the evening. I know it's not what we want to think about, but the honest truth here is that we have just a small amount left of summer. Meteorological spring begins September 1, fall rather, September 1. Astronomical fall begins on the 21st of September. So we're kind of in that last 5 to 6 weeks of summer. Soak up these hot and humid days because they'll be gone before we know it. Lauren.
Oh, JD, the 276 days really got me, and then you hit me with that graphic at the end?
I'm sorry. I'm just preparing you, just letting people know.
I appreciate the warning. Thank you, friend. We got a lot more coming up. Still at 5 o'clock. It's been a long day. I know you've been in and out, so we want to catch you up on some of the other stories that you may have missed. Welcome back. Let's get right back to it with just a quick look at some of the other stories making headlines today that you may have missed. First up, Governor J.B. Pritzker has signed 2 new laws aimed at improving women's health and strengthening protections for domestic violence survivors in Illinois. One measure expands education on menopause and perimenopause for healthcare professionals by making it an option for required continuing education. The second updates the state's Domestic Violence Act to address online harassment, including digital tracking, doxing, and AI-generated sexual images. The law also allows survivors to request virtual hearings for orders of protection and expands legal protections against technology-facilitated abuse.
Most women in America are currently not being treated for their menopause symptoms.
Yes, me too.
Causing unnecessary health risks that can lead to serious health complications such as, again, heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and osteoporosis.
All right, I see what you did there. Let's get to the other bill. It updates the Illinois Domestic Violence Act to address newer forms of harassment, including online location tracking and AI. It also makes it easier for victims to seek orders of protection. Governor J.B. Pritzker has signed a new agreement with the Republic of Indonesia aimed at expanding trade and strengthening economic ties. State leaders say the 5-year partnership is going to create some new opportunities for Illinois farmers by growing soybean exports while also encouraging investment in manufacturing, clean energy, technology, healthcare, and education. Officials say the agreement is designed to open new markets for Illinois businesses and cut down on reliance on any single overseas trading partner.
Illinois farmers produce the best soybeans anywhere in the world, and we are #1 for soybean production in the United States. Those soybeans support industries, feed supply chains, and connect our farmers to families and businesses thousands of miles away.
He also said in 2024, Illinois exported $715 million in goods to Indonesia, and it eventually reached $980 million, not only through soybean, but also machinery and AG chemicals. Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson joined CTA leaders today to celebrate the reopening of the Austin Green Line station on the city's west side. The renovated station now features a new elevator, accessible ramp, and stairs, making it fully ADA accessible. CTA officials say the project is a part of the agency's All Stations Accessibility Program, which aims to improve access across the rail system. The Austin station is the latest stop to reopen under the ongoing initiative. A really solemn day for the Chicago Police Department. Today marks 5 years since Officer Ella French was killed in the line of duty. French's brothers and sisters in blue, along with the family, went to a memorial roll call this morning. It was at Gold Star Families Memorial and Park. 5 years ago today, the 29-year-old officer was shot and killed during a traffic stop in the Englewood neighborhood. Her partner, Officer Carlos Yanez Jr., survived but lost his right eye and is now legally blind. French had served with CPD for 3 years before this shooting. Her mother was understandably emotional remembering her daughter.
And I understand that the hand I was meant to hold has let go of mine. People are always asking me, how are you doing? And I say, good, fine. That's a maybe. People tell me it will get easier with time. Perhaps. But the loss of a child, the loss of my Ella, has left an emptiness that time will not heal.
Just so heartbreaking. The shooter, Amante Morgan, was sentenced to life in prison. 2 others involved in the shooting were also sentenced to time behind bars. Mayor Brandon Johnson joined city and community leaders to celebrate finishing 2 newly done homes. It's in Englewood through Chicago's Rebuild program. The homes, once vacant, have been restored and sold to new homeowners. It's a part of an effort to revitalize neighborhoods on the city's south and west sides. City officials say the program has already renovated and sold more than 70 homes, with dozens more under development right now. The Salvation Army Chicago Temple helped families get ready for the upcoming school year by hosting its annual Glow and Grow Back to School kickoff. Oh, it is already that time of year. Kids got free backpacks filled with all sorts of stuff. We're talking school supplies. Well, families had access to community resources, build your own hygiene kits, free food, and ice cream. Of course, it is summer. Representatives from several local organizations were also there to connect families with educational and support services. Hey, the Chicago Bears celebrating quarterback Caleb Williams becoming the first player in franchise history to be the primary cover athlete for Madden. The team is going to unveil a custom mural in Chicago's West Loop inspired by the Madden NFL 27 cover. It looks so good, right? The artwork was created by Chicago artist Ascend. It features Williams' signature Iceman pose, of course. This upcoming Wednesday, fans can also meet Staley DeBear and the Monster Squad, who will be on hand with giveaways and photo opportunities. That event is going to happen from 5 to 8 p.m. Oh, look at that shot. You see the whole thing. Looks awesome. Still ahead on the news at 5, Devin is going to join us to talk more about the Bears. And hundreds of thousands of Puerto Rico face water rationing as a historic drought tightens its grip. And we also have a look ahead to all the weekend festivities around the area. We've got so much coming up when you stay with us at 5 o'clock. Welcome back. 5:30 on the dot, and at 5:30 on a Friday, people are already thinking about the weekend, JD. It's looking like Saturday is going to be the better outside day of the two.
By far, Saturday is for sure the pick day. Sunday's not going to be a washout, but you do need to watch out for the chance for some showers and storms, especially later in the day. Here's how things look to play out for this weekend. Sunshine Mid-80s, not nearly as humid for tomorrow. Sunday, the humidity jumps back up. There is this chance for some stronger thunderstorms. There is a level 1 risk of severe weather in play across the entirety of Chicagoland. I just snuck a peek at some new data. It's suggesting this may come in late Sunday evening into Sunday night, but I've also seen some computer forecast guidance suggesting there could be something mid-morning on Sunday. We will do our best to tighten up that timing over the next 24 hours. Now, let's jump ahead into next weekend, as that'll be a big weekend around these parts with many things ongoing. The early outlook right now for next weekend shows temperatures not making it out of the 70s. And yes, once again, a chance for some showers. This time it'd be on Saturday versus Sunday. But with that being so far away, things may still likely change, so keep that in mind. In the very short term, next handful of hours, we have our eyes on the radar picture. Storm complex getting its act together pretty quickly here across eastern Iowa. That is going to roll its way into western Illinois, but I do believe it loses some steam as it works its way into our area. Still, we could get some pockets of some rain and thunder in our far westernmost areas. Temperatures right now, it is warm, middle 80s for most. A couple of areas are sitting in the upper 80s. The humidity drops off tomorrow, rebounds on Sunday, and then next week, a cooling trend. We'll talk about that in just a while.
Thanks, JD. Puerto Rico is now rationing water for hundreds of thousands of people as a historic drought continues across the U.S. territory. Fox's Amy Gallo joins us live from Orlando, home to one of the largest populations of Puerto Ricans in the United States. And Amy, let's talk about this here, because they tell you that these water issues aren't anything new on the island.
Yeah, Lauren, I've spoken to dozens of Puerto Ricans here today who remember vividly when the government would shut off their water 5-10 years ago when they still lived on the island. But what makes things especially difficult and worrisome now is that Puerto Rico is dealing with historic drought conditions. According to the Associated Press, starting today, over 180,000 people will be without water for 48 hours at a time. It's part of a water rationing schedule in the capital of San Juan and several other major cities. Large trucks will be distributing potable water, prioritizing hospitals as the government scrambles for a more permanent solution.
I came to get two 55-gallon tanks and one 6-gallon tank for the kitchen to store water and refill my system. We haven't had water since Saturday.
According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, 67% of Puerto Rico is experiencing drought. July was the driest month on record for San Juan in over 120 years. It was also the second hottest. For Puerto Ricans living here in the U.S. with family and friends back home, the situation is disheartening.
Ya he vivido varias sequías cuando estuve en la isla viviendo.
I lived through several droughts when I was living on the island. I know what that's like, how worrying it is, and how difficult it can be, at least when it comes to trying to get water.
I have a lot of family there. My grandparents, my dad, cousins, aunts, and uncles. The situation in Puerto Rico is very sad, and it's even sadder for us being over here and unable to help.
Officials have not said when they'll be able to stop the rationing, but we do expect these dry conditions to stick around in Puerto Rico at least until September. Back to you.
All right, September's still a couple weeks away. Well, don't go anywhere. JD has our full weather forecast just ahead. And Tri Creek Schools faces a $3 million budget deficit. Why sports, clubs, and bus service are all on the chopping block. welcome back. Let's get another check of our weather with meteorologist J.D. Rudd. And J.D., those who love the hot weather have just got to come to terms with those days being numbered here.
They are numbered for sure, but let's not run the sands out of the hourglass just yet.
Yes.
Because as we all know, it can still be hot in September.
Yeah.
We got hot days in October and November as well. But yes, overall, we're starting to hit that final turn of summer. If you haven't done anything outside that's summer-related, get it done now, because before you know it, it's going to be September or October. With that in mind, here's the radar picture currently showing us it's a clean sweep of things right now, but that's going to change later on tonight as some showers and some rumbles work their way in. That also, too, is something that you get in the summertime, watching those storms drift their way in out of the west. Here is the satellite radar big picture showing us what's going on. This complex right here bowling its way through Cedar Rapids. This one, it's got some teeth on it right now, but by the time this gets closer to us, it's going to dive more to the south and southeast. It'll lose some steam. I'm still watching the developing pocket of showers here in southwestern Wisconsin. Some of that could impact our northwestern areas. I think it'd just be rain, maybe a few rumbles here and there. The timing on this between about 8:30 and 10 o'clock tonight. Futurecast doing a decent job picking up on where things may be by 7 o'clock this evening, but watch closely as this moves south and southeast. It all just kind of falls apart on us. Still, that's how the computer forecast is seeing it. Actual radar trends may vary. We'll keep our eyes on that and keep you updated as we go throughout the evening. Overnight tonight into tomorrow, things quiet down. Tomorrow is your pick day to do something, anything outside. Lots of sunshine throughout the afternoon. Not nearly as humid for tomorrow. Still a bit sticky, but not bad. And yes, it'll be warm with high temperatures in the middle 80s. Tomorrow evening, quiet, calm, no issues at all. Then we go into Sunday, and this version of Futurecast wants to put some rain and maybe some thunder in here late morning, early afternoon. I could see that happening, but I could also see things waiting until late Sunday afternoon into Sunday night. Now, this version of Futurecast doesn't depict that, but some other computer forecast models are indicating after about 7, 8 o'clock Sunday night, there could be some showers and storms in some areas. And then we could do it all over again on Monday with another chance for some showers and a few thunderstorms. Both Sunday and Monday feature at least a small risk of severe weather somewhere in the Chicagoland area. So keep your eyes on the forecast as we go into Sunday and Monday with those chances for storms. Again, some stronger activity is not out of the question at all. Could we use some rain? Technically, yes. The new drought report that came out yesterday morning shows our far western areas considered abnormally dry. Moderate drought sneaking into portions of western DeKalb County and toward the Rockford area. So some moisture may be welcome in some cases. We finished up July with 5.36 inches of rain. So far here in August, just a skosh under 2. For the entirety of the year, we're running about 4 4/10 above normal altogether. But take note, May and February were some pretty dry months. I don't think it'll be too terribly dry here in August. We'll see what happens as we turn the page into September. And I say it won't be dry in August because once we hit Sunday and Monday, multiple chances for showers and storms coming our way into Tuesday, Wednesday as well. Thursday could be the only dry day of next week before more showers and storms work their way in by Friday, along with some temperatures stalling in the 70s. Let's check in now with Devin for sports. Hi, Devin.
The Bears wrapped up their second week of training camp yesterday after a week of long physical practices in pads that left players like Kobe Bryant, Braxton Jones, and Montez Sweat leaving the field for the trainer's table. Herb Howard from the Bigs Media and I recap the good, the bad, and the injured from Hallis Hall.
Unfortunately, the Bears right now aren't winning the war of attrition, right? You hope to stay healthy as much as you can while you get the work that you need to get in. Obviously, you need to do the contact. You need to have some physical practices. But the Bears just are going down right now at a rapid rate, a lot of positions.
Is there a line between, practicing hard and maybe trying to pull back a little bit to keep guys healthy?
I think you certainly want to try and find that. But at the end of the day, it's football, right? So you're talking about a game that has a 100% injury rate. It's not a matter of if you're going to get hurt. It's simply when. What you don't want is all of those injuries to happen at one time, and so the Bears are kind of dealing with that right now. Can you get a little bit lucky? Can you manage some of those things? Sure, but it's kind of a bit of a luck of the draw sometimes.
I think it was pretty clear the offense were the dominant side of the ball last week,
no doubt,
in training camp. Now we are still very early, but this week to me it seemed like the defense had the edge.
Yeah, I agree, and the defense kind of needed to respond because, like you said, Evan, the offense dominated in week one. The defense kind of punched back a little bit this week. Obviously, you get into the pads, a little bit more physical. gives the defense a chance to hit back a little bit more than they had in the first week. But I do think you saw some back and forth, which is really what you want. You want competition. You want to see the offense make some plays. You want to see the defense make some plays. You don't really want to see either side completely dominating one side or the other. And so for most NFL teams, the defense starts out training camp ahead of the offense. That certainly was not the case here. The offense was ahead, but the defense has now kind of called back up, and they're having their voices heard in this battle too.
I'm going to ask you for your 3 Bears ballers of the week overall. Who stood out to you?
We already talked about Devin Bush, but I would certainly include him in one of those Bears ballers because he's just had a really, really good week. I think Tyreek Stevenson has had a really good week. The thing with Tyreek is it's always up and down. It's the consistency, right, that we keep hearing about.
There you go. I can pick a third if
you got.
I'm going to go Roma Junze.
Yeah.
He had several catches and then shook off a defender several times. One time ran all the way into the end zone on Thursday morning in full pads, and I think he's really been standing out. You can catch my full interview with Herb on Chicago Sports Tonight and, of course, our Fox 32 YouTube page. Now, the Bears announced they signed veteran safety Xavier Woods, while cornerback Dallas Flowers has been placed on injured reserve. Woods spent last season with the Tennessee Titans, starting in 10 of 11 games, totaling 39 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 3 passes defended. That does it for sports. Lauren, back to you.
Thank you so much, Devin. Still to come, we are taking a look at all of the weekend events happening across Chicago. I know you are planning all of the things that you want to do, so let me help you out.
Inviting all these people to
Tri-Creek schools facing some difficult financial decisions after the school board approved major budget cuts tied to a projected $3 million deficit. The district plans to get rid of K-8 sports and clubs, eventually end bus service, and more cuts could still be on the way. So to explain why these decisions were made and what they mean for students and families, we're now joined by Tri-Creek Schools Superintendent Dr. Andy Anderson and the school board president, Andy Lobb. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So these cuts are pretty significant. I did just name some of them. Why did the district decide that these were necessary cuts to make?
there really wasn't a decision. So a failed referendum of 2023 resulted in us having to eliminate 34 positions over the past 3 years. That's more than 10% of our staffing. And so last spring in 2025, Indiana legislature passed Senate Enrolled Act 1 that lowered property taxes in the state, but the unintended outcome is it also lowered school district revenue to the point that school districts can't operate even at a minimum level where we are. And so there is nothing else to cut. You look at administrators and teachers and other support positions, we've already made cuts. And so now we're looking for big ticket items. When you're talking about a $3 million deficit gap, it's not just 10 teachers, it's not just another 2 administrators. And even if we're at bare minimum, who's going to run the school district? Who's going to teach? And so we're at the point, there really wasn't a decision or an option. $2.3 million is our bus service. And so that still leaves $700,000 on the table that has to bridge that gap to the $3 million deficit that we have. And if we don't make this cut, we will not make payroll in just a little over 3 years.
And the district says that this is happening because of Indiana's Senate Enrolled Act 1. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so what that does is for homeowners, it provides a tax credit. And in addition to a higher deduction or a credit off of the gross assessed value of a tax bill. And so collectively, when you apply that to all of the homes in your school district, it might be insignificant on the homeowner, but it created a significant impact on not just schools, but cities and towns and the counties.
So now the district is asking voters to consider a referendum this November. What do you want taxpayers to understand about what's at stake if that referendum passes or if it doesn't?
Well, I think we've already kind of laid out at least a major part of what's going to happen if it doesn't, and if it does, I can just say that we'll assure that we're going to continue to be fiscally responsible and that we'll take what we need to run this operation as we have, in the past.
And my last question for you guys, what message do you want to send to students, to parents, to staff who might be worried about how these changes are going to affect their school, their daily lives, that sort of thing?
This is a grassroots effort. If we're expecting a campaign of yard signs and mailers, that is not what this is about. This is about survival. It's a referendum to maintain status quo. And our school district does a wonderful job. We have kids performing in the top 10% academically. We have wonderful sports teams. The schools bring a lot of pride to our community. But this takes the effort of every citizen in this town to pass the word about what's going on so that people understand there's a lot at stake here. And if the referendum doesn't stop the cuts that are already in place now officially on a presented timeline, if the referendum doesn't stop that, our bottom will truly fall out, and it is a community issue.
Yeah, and I think it's important for all the voters to understand you can't separate the school from the rest of the community. It's an ecosystem. We support the town supports us. We're all in this together. Cuts to the school of this magnitude will have impact on the community, even if it doesn't directly involve parents and students.
Tri-Creek School Superintendent Dr. Andy Anderson and School Board President Andy Laub, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Stay with us. JD has one final check at the forecast as soon as we get back. welcome back. There is definitely plenty happening around Chicagoland this weekend. So here's a quick look at some of the things that we've got over the next couple of days. Young the Giant brings its Victory Garden tour to Chicago tonight with special guest Cold War Kids. The show starts at 6:30 at Huntington Bank Pavilion at Northerly Island. Fans can expect hits from both alternative rock bands as they make a stop on their nationwide summer tour. Tickets are still available through Live Nation and Ticketmaster. What about the Foo Fighters? They are back in Chicago this weekend. Yeah, the Rock and Roll Hall of Famers take the stage on Saturday night at Soldier Field as a part of their latest tour. Fans can expect a set packed with hits spanning the band's nearly 3 decades, along with music from its newest album. Jack Harlow bringing his Monica tour to Chicago Saturday night with special guest James Savage. The show starts at 7:30 inside the Salt Shed. The Grammy-nominated rapper is expected to perform all the fan favorites along with music from his latest project. Tickets are still available. Kalani brings the Northwest American leg of her world tour to Chicago on Sunday night. The R&B star takes the stage at 6:30 at Huntington Bank Pavilion at Northerly Island. Fans can expect a mix of chart-topping hits and new music, and if you want to go, you are in luck. Tickets also still available for that one. One last thing before we go, just a quick reminder for all of the parents out there, Illinois' back-to-school sales tax holiday starts today. It runs through August 16th during the tax break. The state's sales tax on qualifying school supplies and some clothing drops 5%. It's going from 6.25% to 1.25%. Eligible items include notebooks, folders, binders, calculators, and some clothes. Do we want to end it right here? Should we walk over to the desk? What do you say, guys? All right, we'll send it on over to JD to give us one last look at the weather.
Sure. How about a check of that 7-day forecast? Tomorrow might be overall the best day of the next several. It's certainly the driest day. Lots of sunshine, lower humidity, 84. We're going to kind of hold in the mid-80s for Sunday and Monday. Storm chances will return. Not going to rain all day, every day, but each day does feature a chance for some showers and storms. That trend continues into Tuesday and Wednesday. A small break Thursday before more rain and thunder Friday.
All right, sounds good, JD. Have to come over and join you. We'll end it over here. The party's at the desk. Thank you guys for hanging out at 5 o'clock today. The 9 o'clock news is after this.